Hey family, welcome to our lunch experience here at Church Extended. My name is Jerrard and I'm the lead pastor of Church Extended. And what a great time we are living in, and a great time to be alive, to be able to come together like this, sit at God's table, eat of His word and drink from His Spirit, and just bask in the glory of His presence. It is such an amazing time that we're living in, even as we are on the series Superheroes, and coming from the first session we had on Wednesday Night Live. It was such a profound session for me, talking about the depravity of men, and as the scales were being removed from our eyes, and as the eyes of our understanding were being enlightened to know and to see that God has called us out of darkness, and that He has placed within us treasures, great treasures, exceedingly great treasures, and exceedingly great power. And there is no reason then for us to cower. There is no reason for us to be in fear and succumb to our fears and let our fears to appear as if they are bigger than our faith. Let your faith be rising in this moment. Let your faith be rising as you come to know that God has created you to be a glorious display of who He is, a glorious display of His presence, an extension of His hands, reaching out to the oppressed. Wherever you are, in the office, on your business, on the job, on the road, wheresoever you are a conduit through which God is reaching out to men. Even as we're going through some of the most painful times of our lives, it's so unbelievable that we are in 2020 and we are still dealing with gender-based violence, and our government does not know what to do. They're doing everything they can, but it seems as if this cancer has just been spreading with no one to cut it out, no one to root it out. But it is time for true believers of God to rise and say enough is enough, and begin to execute the power that is at work in us, providing solutions to such great and grave perplexities. Even looking at what happened over in the US and what's been happening over in the US, and some of the things are happening in Zimbabwe and other countries where we're experiencing disproportionate levels of injustice, and it's so painful. It's so painful to watch, so painful to read, and so painful to have to go through. And it is time truly for the sons of God to be made manifest, because the earnest expectation of the creature is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. It is time for us to put on our sonship shoes and truly come alive to the truth of God's word and identify ourselves. Rise up and stand to be counted. Arise, for the glory of the Lord is already risen upon you. The glory of the Lord is not going to rise upon you. It is not going to rise upon you when you rise. You must arise because the glory of God is already risen upon you. Come on, child of God. Come on, son of God. It is time for you to rise and take your rightful place. It is time for you to rise and access the glory that is risen upon you, and begin to be the solution for your community, the solution for the area that you live in, the solution for the problems the people in the area that you live in are facing. You have got what it takes. You are anointed for this. You are appointed for this. Therefore, I urge you, I charge you to rise and take your rightful place. You are a super being. You have got supernatural power, exceedingly great power that comes from God's might. This is out of Ephesians chapter 1. I pray that this encourages you, and I pray that this causes you to rise and begin to take your rightful place and begin to live a life that exemplifies the God that called you out of darkness into His marvelous light. A life that exemplifies the life of His Son. You are a child of God, separated for His great works. And you are a partaker together with Jesus Christ, even of His inheritance. And therefore you are blessed. And therefore you are wealthy. Therefore you've got the power that you need to make it. It is time for you to arise and stand and be counted. And I declare this today, as you rise, the generations of the earth will call you blessed. because you have come into obedience, you have come into submission, into surrendering to God, because it is when we surrender to God that we win. When we surrender to God, we win every time, because we have surrendered our weaknesses for His greatness, for His strength. We've surrendered our timidity even for His greatness. We've surrendered every area of our lives that was not like Him in exchange for His attributes. Therefore, it is time for you to gloriously surrender to the leading of God and say, Lord, take over and be in charge. Take over, take charge. Lead me wheresoever you will, and I will follow you, because you are my God. You are my Father. You are my King. And I declare this, let royalty begin to rise. Let the peculiar people of God begin to rise. Take your rightful place. You are a royal priest, a kingly priest. Take your rightful place. Arise now. Arise now. And take your rightful place. Even as we continue this series. Listen, on Sunday, God willing, we're going to be looking at the encounter part and the transformity part of our series as we deal with the series Superheroes. Come on, child of God, arise and take your rightful place. It is ridiculous to be running from a defeated foe. It is ridiculous to be running from a defeated enemy. It's time for you to realize that the enemy is defeated. It is ridiculous to die of hunger in a storehouse that has limitless supplies that is owned by your dad. It is ridiculous. It's time for you to have the eyes of your understanding be enlightened, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, and begin to take your rightful place from this day onwards. I hope this blesses you. Have a great Friday further, and let us enjoy a great weekend as we anticipate to hear from God in a profound way. God bless you, and have a great day.